Well, an hour and a half.
Hi everyone, welcome to JPWHUTV. This is the second episode of what I'm hoping to be more frequent podcasts with a good friend of mine from Wayne from Dallas Hammers. Wayne, hello,
hello mate. How's it going? How's the weather over there in good old Blighty?
It's all right, mate. It's not too bad, to be honest with you. I just got to mute the video because for some reason it's repeating itself. Yeah, it's not bad. It's 17 degrees Celsius, which is what? Where are we? 40 odd in American speak.
Oh gosh, well we're let's see, what are we over here? We're oh gosh, I think we're at 78 degrees Fahrenheit. What's that? That's bloody hot.
You divide it by 3. You divide it by 3 and then take away 9, isn't it? From remember, so yeah, it's about it's about 17 degrees today, so Celsius. It's not too bad. So
I think we're about 30 degrees your temperature.
Yeah, I'd love that this time of year, mate. Well, bearing in mind what it was 39 years ago, it was a nice hot sunny day on the weekend of the FA Cup final last weekend.
Very true.
Very nice. So Wayne, introduce yourself, mate. Tell everybody how you got into West Ham first and foremost.
Blimey, that's going back a long time ago. I'm 55 years of age now, but my granddad basically took me to my first ever match when I was 7. 7 years of age, and he dragged me out. It was in September of crikey, I'm trying to think what year it was. I guess it was September of 1970. I remember we were playing Chelsea. Don't remember an awful lot other than the fact that he got me a steak and kidney pie. And his fag ash kept falling on my head, which was a pain in the neck. I didn't see an awful lot of the match, but I remember when Clyde Best scored, he threw me up in the air, and I thought he was going to launch me. We won. Like most West Ham supporters, it's like the first match I saw, we won, and I thought that, oh, this is brilliant. We're going to win all the time. And
you remember what your match was?
He did, which was something else. But what I remember more about the match was on the way home, we bumped into a couple of Chelsea supporters, and my granddad said to me, I had a brand new tan anorak, and my granddad said to me, because it was for school, and my granddad said to me, he says, Ian, he says, just grab hold of my leg. He said, I'm going to hold on to your hood. And my granddad proceeded to beat up these 2 Chelsea supporters one-handed. And blood all over the bloody place. And he only laid probably a couple of punches to them, but enough to blood them. And they ran off. And he took me back home to my mum. And we lived in southwest London. We lived in Wimbledon. And we got home to my mum, and my mum went mental, absolutely mental. She made him promise never to take me to West Ham ever again. Never to take me to West Ham ever again. So next week he comes around, and he turns up, and he had a little Bedford van. And he turns up in his little Bedford van, and he says, I've come to take him to football again. And she goes, none of that West Ham lark. He goes, no. So I'll take him to Wimbledon. Wimbledon, we'll go down Plough Lane. It'll be no problem at all. So we get in this little Bedford van, and he goes, all right, Nepper. He says, here's the deal. He says, you can either go to Wimbledon, and he holds up this yellow and blue crap-looking scarf. He says, and then he reaches behind the seat of his Bedford van, and he goes, or we can go to West Ham. Which one do you want to go to? And I'm like, West Ham. So he says, all right. He said, I'll take you to West Ham. He says, but you can't bloody tell your mother nothing. And that was it. That was the start of the love affair, and I've been going to West Ham ever since. I went with him up until like me mid-teens, and then I started going with mates of mine, and that's pretty much it. And it's been a lifetime of suffering ever since. Apart from when I was 16 and got to see West Ham win the 1980 FA Cup, and that was it.
Not to make you feel old, mate, unless you haven't been watching my videos recently, but that was literally the day I was born. So. Not to feel you old, but it was literally mum was in labour with me. There's a good family connection behind that, which I explored briefly on the video. My dad used to play for the Coldstream Guards. Remember the band that used to do the halftime and
yeah.
Dad was in that band for every year before and since, except that day, because Mum was in labour and he got medical leave.
Oh my God!
my uncle and my granddad were at the game as well. So it was literally it was within a few hours of that fantastic header of Trevor Brooking.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
Mum basically gave her dad me, saying, "You got a bouncing baby grandson." And apparently, when Granddad first saw me lying in the cot I was blowing bubbles. So there you go.
So I wasn't even supposed to go to the game because I kept getting in trouble. One thing led
Really?
to another.
You keep getting in trouble?
I did. I kept getting in trouble back then. Yeah, I won't go into it, but let's just say I've wised up over the years, and I'm and I'm lucky I stayed out of trouble and didn't get into any real bad stuff. But I basically I didn't get a ticket for the match, and my mate called me up that morning and he goes, I've got an extra ticket for the match. And I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, come on. He says, let's go. I says, no. I says, they're going to be looking for me. He goes, no. He says, come on, we'll get you in. You can't miss the FA Cup. I'm like, come on, what chance have we got of bloody winning? I says, it's Arsenal. I'm like, they're going to kill us. He says, nah, they're not going to kill us. I said, well, if they don't kill us, somebody's going to kill me. I said, I can't go. He says, you're going to the match. He said, come around. He says, let's go. So we went to the match, and I mean, I didn't even think about what was going on, under the fact that, you know, after that goal, that was the longest, 70 odd minutes of my whole entire bloody life. I mean, talk about bricking it the whole bloody time. I mean, he couldn't have scored that in the last 10 minutes instead of the first 10, could he? I mean, it's like that was like, it was sheer murder. I mean, I was just screaming and singing the whole bloody match. But what a bloody game that was.
Oh, absolutely. End-to-end counter-attacking football from both sides.
Totally.
We're glad that both teams are still doing it practically 40 years later.
Seriously. Oh, it was brilliant. And that's pretty much how I got into it. And then, of course, you know, I came over into the States. I came over and fell in love with America. And should I say, fell in love with American women. And got a job over here, and I sort of fell out of touch with West Ham because it was tough to watch a match over here. Because, you know, the only teams you could watch on the TV over here were Chelsea and Manchester United and freaking Liverpool, and that was it. And I was like, I'm not going to watch this crap. So I sort of lost touch with what was going on, and I did that in probably like the 1980s. So I lost an awful lot of touch with what was going on. So people talk to me about what went on in the 80s and the 90s. I'm like, I've got no bloody clue, mate. You probably got more clue than I have. And there are some Americans over here. One lad in my Dallas group, he's like a complete book. And he's like, do you remember this? Do you remember that? I'm like, you know what, mate? I've got no bloody clue. I said, if it happened in the 80s and the 90s, I've got no clue. Well,
it could have been worse, mate. You could have, growing up around Wimbledon way, you could have been a Don supporter, and then...
Well, you know what? They still got a little piece of my heart because, I mean, we were a poor family, like most people who support West Ham. You know, like most people in London, quite frankly, that didn't have a lot of money. So I could never really afford to go to away games or anything. So when there was an away game and I couldn't afford it, if Wimbledon was playing at home, I'd go down to Plough Lane. And it was fun times. I used to go watch the Crazy Game play. I was a big fan of Vinnie Jones, except when he was playing West Ham. So, you know, I used to stand on the terraces at Plough Lane, and I mean, I never wore a Wimbledon scarf or anything, but I used to go and have a bit of a laugh there and go for a drink afterwards. So, you know, drink at the age of 16, of course, like most of us did back home, right? You say that over here in America, and they're like, you were drinking at 16. I'm like, too bloody right. I was drinking at 14.
There's no Teen Wolf in the States.
Serious, right? Exactly. But yeah, those were good old days. They certainly were good old days.
I know what you mean about that, though, mate. Because with me, growing up not that far from where you were, living in Kingston, New Malden, that side of things, Fulham have always had a soft spot in my heart because I was very close to being a Fulham supporter. My uncle hates me when I say this, but I was very close because with me, even though it's 4 generations of West Ham, as this shirt will show, if I see that.
Oh, there you go.
I got this specially made for that season. Obviously the last season at the Bowling. I never wore it ever until the Man United at home game, which by a strange twist of fate, call it karma, whatever, was on my birthday as well. 10th of May, when we beat Man United, we were 2-0 down and came back to win it 3-2. I have never worn this shirt at all throughout that entire season. I think I've only worn this one other time. I think it was the first season at the London Stadium when we played Man U. So I thought, right, this is a lucky shirt for Man U, and we got slaughtered by them. So so but whenever we play Fulham, my heart is 100% West Ham. Second that was over, I've still got a soft spot for Fulham, and it's a shame that they got relegated. But at the same point, it's completely understandable. At the same point, so Wayne, what exactly caused you to up sticks and move to the States? Were you just backpacking around there or something, or what?
No, in all seriousness, my mum actually dragged me off to America when I was like a kid.
Right.
And then I went back to England to go to school, of course, like a lot of people do. And then for jobs, quite frankly, I mean, there was no work over in England. I liked the American girls, to be honest. They liked the English accent. I wasn't that much of a looker, and I realised that going over to the States, I could get a lot better than what I could get back home, to be quite frank. I know that sounds really disgusting and chauvinistic, but it's true. It's rotten and true. And yeah, I was a rotten pig back then. I'm not anymore, thank God, and I haven't been for years. But yeah, I came over to America because I loved the money, and I loved the American women. They loved the English accent, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I had a great time over here. I was an actor up in New York for a while. Never made any money, but I had a lot of fun, and worked in the casino business down at the Playboy Club when it opened in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Worked over at Caesars. Moved up to New York. Like I said, did the acting art for a while. Just had a lot of fun, and then met a wonderful girl up in New York City, who I was planning on being, my next triumph, and fell in love. I had no idea. It came right out of the blue, and her family happened to live down in Texas, and I think we're both at the point where New York is like a young person's city. It's a great city, and after London, it feels like home to me. But we were both tired of it. We were both tired of like the rat race. We were both tired of like running around, and we decided to move to Texas and start a home together down in Texas. And that's how we ended up down in Dallas. Her family are down here, and Dallas is home now. North Dallas is home. We're out in the sticks in Dallas, but we have a lot of fun down here, and this is home down here now. And the only thing that was missing was me football. So
can't have everything, mate. It's a woman or a pigskin, isn't it? Really?
Exactly. So, but I've followed some of the Major League Soccer down here, and I started up a supporters group for the local MLS team. I didn't start it up. I actually became one of the officers of the supporters group that had been going actually before the team was. Did that for a while, and it's a different type of football over here. It really is. It's like bang it long and it's hoof it ball. It's Sam Allardyce ball, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. As we were talking about over on Twitter over the weekend, I think you nailed it 100% there, mate. From what I know of it, you nailed it by saying it's pretty much League Two style football. So
it is. It's funny. I was doing that, and I got involved with the club and like the politics of like being in charge of a supporters club and running it with a couple of people, and what the team promises you and what they don't come through on and everything. And it doesn't matter what league you play in. There's always that politicking thing that goes on. And I got sick of it. I got really sick of it and stopped going to the team. And around about that time, NBC started showing a lot more English football on TV. And a mate of mine and I started like catching the occasional West Ham game on TV. And we said it was when West Ham was down in the Championship, and they were going to play Blackpool for the final playoff game to go up into the Prem. And we said, let's go to the Londoner. There's a local English pub called the Londoner. And my mate Richard, great guy, knows more about football than anybody I know in the world. He can rattle off numbers, dates, histories, brilliant. He says, let's go down there. He says, it's probably just going to be you and me down there watching it. And we turned up, and there was about 20 West Ham supporters there. And we're like, blimey, this is brilliant. And we're having a right laugh. And of course, it's a good match. And at halftime, one of the lads, his name's Phil. He turns to me, he goes, here, mate. He goes, tell at least in that. He goes, here, mate. He says, you're like a sort of geezer that likes to organise shit. He says, why don't you like get a pen and paper and take everybody's emails down and organise so we can go like all watch the games together next year. And that was the start of the Dallas Hammers, pretty much.
So when was that? When did you form that group then? When was that?
That was May 19th, 2012.
Okay, so good run for 7 years. So where do you guys hang out for when you watch the?
Well, for the first couple of years, we had one pub that we made our home, and unfortunately they went bust. So we were good luck for them. And then they started showing the games on TV all the time, and it kind of killed the group off a little bit. And so we started going around visiting other people's bars. So that like there was like a big Chelsea group, a big Liverpool group, a big Man City group, and we would just turn up and we'd like out sing them. You know, like most West Ham supporters. So we were like the away group, and we had a laugh doing it, and we made some good friends that way. It's very different over here in the States. It's like you can actually do that and get on well with other people. The only people we didn't get on well with was Tottenham, and we'd turn up at their bar, and they would just be like, they'd be afraid of us. So we loved that. It was a lot of fun. We wouldn't do anything with them, but you know, we just had fun with them thinking that we would. But my mate Phil, who lived in this area of North Dallas called the Colony, said there's a local Irish pub called McSwiggan's Irish Pub. He says, and they said that they'd open up for us early in the morning. It's a tiny little Irish pub run by a great bunch of people. And we said, well, let's give it a try. And we gave it a try. And halfway through the match, we turned to each other, me, Phil, and Rich, and were like, I think we found our home. They just took real good care of us. And we've been there ever since. We've been there. We just completed our 4th year with them. They're just a great bunch of people. They open up early in the morning for us. They serve us, because we're a private party, so to speak. They can serve us alcohol when they usually don't because we're a private party.
Obviously, for example, on Sunday, they would have happened to open what 8, 9 o'clock in the morning for the game.
Yeah, they're open. They had the doors open at 8:30, and we were there outside waiting for them. And they had the bartender, poor bartender Lee, actually his cat scratched and had a wicked scratch underneath his eye. He's still he's still got everybody their drinks, and Kat, the girl who actually is the manager of the bar, she turned up about 15-20 minutes later. The kitchen doesn't usually open on a Sunday until like about 11 o'clock, but she turned up with loads of food for us. She took over. Like I said, we had 52 people there, and we don't like push it. We take care of them. We try and like tidy up our own mess. We had a right blast there, and the other great thing is that we did a thing at the beginning of the year. We had to try and predict where we'd sit at the end of the season. So like out of like the 50, 60 members we have that go on a regular basis, or on a semi-regular basis, we usually have about 30 people there on a regular basis. We did like a prediction as to where West Ham was going to end at the end of the season. What place they were going to be, and then the tiebreaker was what the points were. And McSwiggan's actually said, whoever wins at the end of the season will buy them a new 2019-20 shirt.
All right, sweet.
So, which is nice of them. So they're a good bunch of people. We have a right blast with them. We really do. They're great people.
So who got the closest on the points and the position?
Guy by the name of Todd Griffith, and Todd's a great guy. When we had we have to watch a lot of the West Ham games on NBC Gold over here, which is like a streaming service, which sucks big time. Really does. It's awful. We have to stream it. Yeah, we have to hook 2 TVs together with a big cable. The streaming service sucks. It keeps breaking down all the time. Todd is a complete genius when it comes to stuff like that. He figured a setup and put cables together and figured everything out. And he guessed 10th place with 52 points. So he's 1 point off.
Very, very good. Very, very good.
So it's good. I guessed 6th place because I figured I'd have to aim high because I'm running the group. Plus, I thought we were going to finish in 6th at the beginning of the season because I believed all the bullshit. So and the guy that was behind the bar, a guy by the name of Gary, who's no longer at the pub, he guessed 14th, and I said to him, "Well, Gary, why are you in this? Because you're a Manchester United supporter." He says, "I don't want the shirt, of course." He said, "But if you guys finish 14th," he said, "I'm going to make you wear a Man U shirt the first match of the next season." So I was like, so I was talking to my mates. I said, I'm going to wear the Man U shirt, but what I haven't told him is I'm going to wear it tied around my twig and berries all game long. That's what I was going to do. I'm not going to bloody well wear it like I'm going to wear it. So, but it's a good community over here. We've got a great bunch of people. We really do. The football community over here in Dallas is brilliant.
I can imagine. We've got a couple of people in the live chat. Hello, Harrison. It's good to see you around, mate. This kid is a very, very good YouTuber.
Hey, Harrison.
He disappeared off the radar for a little bit, but he's back, and he's been putting up some good quality content as well. And also a regular viewer of American Hammers TV, Wally World, is in the live chat.
Hey, Wally World.
Good to see you, mate. He's got a question
everywhere.
for you if you haven't noticed. He's asking what's happened to your beard, mate.
Well, I've been unemployed for 7 months, Wally, and I cannot land a bloody full-time job. That's the problem. So I'm here in North Dallas. If anybody knows anyone that needs a marketing person or a trainer, send the job my way, please. So I decided I'm going to these job interviews with a beard, and it's all grey, and I'm looking like an old man. And I think that's one of the reasons why they're not hiring me. So I got rid of it. But I'm growing this little thing back. I'm growing my soul patch back because my daughter says I've got too much flesh on my face.
You know what that means, mate, don't you? From your daughter.
I'm fat. She says, Daddy, she says, you've got too much flesh in your face. I said, where do you mean I've got too much flesh on my face, sweetheart? She's 7. She's a great kid. Her name's Lily, so I call her Lilyhammer. So she goes, well, you've got flesh like under your chin. She said, well, you don't really have a chin. You just kind of got flesh that hangs from your face. So, kids are honest, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
So that's what happened to me. Cheers, Wally. Thanks for making me feel good.
Before we go any further, I completely forgot to mention the company that sponsors it. The whole channel is being sponsored by 3retro.com. There is a link in the description below that will take you through to their West Ham section where you can buy retro shirts from the 60s through to the 2000s. There's also Umbro and Admiral polo shirts, t-shirts and sweatshirts in there as well. So go check that out. If you make any purchases through the link, then that will go towards helping fund the channel. So thank you very, very much for that. Talking of Umbro and Admiral, Wayne, have you seen the picture that's been floating around today? In relation to
actually, we've been talking quite a bit about it.
The home kit's gonna look like next year.
Yeah, you know, I'm in two minds, to be honest. I like the classic look, like you're wearing. To be honest, I like the blue sleeves, and I was kind of hoping that we'd go back to a classic blue sleeved look. That's what I was hoping for. But if we're not going to do it, I'll tell you what the rumor is, and it seems to be substantiated by a number of people that seem to be in the know, so that it's going to be something like the one that's been rumored. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. I like it. I always liked that shirt when it came out. It's a real throwback to the 70s. I mean, to be honest here, it looks way 1970s.
Yeah,
it really does.
With the little lines across it as opposed to
the old chevron thing. Yeah.
I too. I really like the shirt. I wish we would have more shirts with a collar. I really do like when we.
I'm in the same bag with you on that. I do. I like shirts with a collar. I don't like the big floppy collars like we used to have with the feelers and the ponies, with like the old Doc Martin shirts that had the big floppy things where you'd stick them up and they'd like go all over the bloody place. But a little collar, I do like a little collar.
Yeah, and likewise with me, one of the reasons why I bought this, not just because it was the last home game of the last season back at the Bowling, our spiritual home, but it's this. I like this 60s neckline. That when it's got 60s and 70s influence stuff, my skin goes by me quickly, very quickly. So just going back to what we were talking about earlier, because obviously you saying that you thought we were going to finish 6th. We've obviously finished 10th. With unbeaten in 4 games at the last season, which kind of is really good for bearing in mind we were beating the crap out of us. We're beaten at the start of the season when we were playing with Liverpool, Man City, Man U. You know, anybody that we could possibly get punishing us were there. So so 52 points and 10th place is around about what I was hoping. I've been pretty much saying all season when the summer transfer window closed. I said in my roundup video that we would finish no higher than 10th, 9th if we were lucky. We weren't, because Chelsea weren't bothered about getting any decent points against Leicester on the same day. But But so, what do you feel? I mean, I've taken your sixth finish out of the equation. Do you feel there's been progress this season under Pellegrini?
I do feel there's been progress. I do. I think the fact that we had bloody fantastic matches where we played our bollocks off, and we were successful on the field, and some other matches where we looked like we just come out of a coffin for the match. Is just a sign of the fact that we don't have that consistency yet, and we don't have the personnel together that we needed for the season. I think Pellegrini did a half decent job. I think it's the first season with him, so I don't think we could expect really too much. I think a lot of us bought into the BS that was sold to us at the beginning of the season, that hey, we're spending this sort of money, so it's like waving a bloody magic wand, and it really wasn't. Certainly, I bought into it. I'm a naturally optimistic person when it comes to the team. I think, you go one way or another, and I just chose to go that way this year. And I think the controversy that happened around Christmas, around the Swiss yodeler, really hurt us. And thanks to Batman for giving me that. I mean, it's perfect for the guy. I think that really did hurt us, and that loomed like a shadow over us and stuck it to us a little bit. So I think it would have been nice if we'd have had those opportunities to get to seventh, if we'd have actually, pulled our hands out of our pockets and bloody well got there. Would have been fantastic. That would have been, for me, that would have been a tremendously successful season.
If we'd have
played gone to Europe.
Yeah, if we'd played better against Brighton away, for example, that would have given the catalyst to finish that point. Same thing with Huddersfield as well, both at home and away.
Exactly.
We did all right against them at home, but the away game worried the hell out of me, because I thought, Christ, we're drawing against a side that's going to get relegated. I know that we are a more solid squad and team than Huddersfield are, but when you're drawing with teams, Cardiff away, we beat them 3-1 at home early in the season, then we lost to them stupidly away, and again,
it's ridiculous.
It's been relegated. But at the same point, I've had a look over the last 5 years of our league positions, and it makes quite interesting reading, to be honest with you. At the end of the 14-15 season, we finished 12th with 47 points. The following season, we finished 7th with 62, the last season at the Bowling. The 16-17 season, we finished 11th with 45 points. And then last season, as everybody remembers, 13th on 42 points. Now, taking an average of that, it basically means our average position is 11th with 50 points average a season. That's not bad.
It's not bad at all.
5-6 years ago, basically when we were just coming, when we were trying to solidify ourselves back in the Premier League after coming back up through the playoff final, if you'd have said on average we will finish with 50 points on 11, finish 11th in the table, we would have said, yeah, we'll take that every day of the week. This just shows you how much has changed over the last 4 to 5 years now, and more specifically, the amount of money that we spent as well. For example, just to recap for everybody's benefit, Felipe Anderson, £34.5 million. Issa Diop, £22.5 million. Andrei Yarmolenko, which I can't wait to see again next season, £18 million. Fabianski, £7 million. Bargain purchase for that. Balbuena, £3.5 million. Perez, who looks like he's going to be going again on the 4th, £4 million. Sanchez, £4 million. Zonde Silva, from when we bought him from the Portuguese side. Technically, I've included him because he has made a couple of appearances, even though he was predominantly brought through for the academy to come through. £1.5 million. So that's £95 million we spent, plus how much it would have got to get Pellegrini in and his playing staff, which, if I remember correctly, at the time it was around about about £5 to £6 million. We sold Kouate for 9.5, Reece Burke for 1.5, Domingos Quina for £1 million, which, from given how he's played with Watford this season, is
done nothing.
Ridiculous. Such a small amount for such a potentially talented player. So basically, £12 million sold. So we've pretty much spent £83 million, and we've finished just above what the average stats are saying for us, which just goes to show how ridiculous the prices are in the Premier League and have been for the last 10, 15 years. That amount
it's dopey. It's dopey. The money is absolutely stupid that people are paying these days. It's like, and you talk about, I mean, the rumours right now, like, you know, how much do we have to spend? And nobody really knows how much we've got to spend, right? They're just, people are pulling figures out of their butt right now.
Yeah, it is to a degree. I mean, there are people that are saying that these. I mean, the prices have been fluctuating from 20. When we looked like we were going to finish around about 11th or 12th, people were saying it was 25 million. Then when it started looking like we're going to finish a little bit higher up, they were saying 30, and then it's gone to 35 and possibly even 40. So we won't know until the start of next season, because obviously the window closes a couple of days beforehand. But that brings me on to something else that I wanted to talk to you about, mate. Obviously, the players that are leaving as a result of it, and obviously Carroll and Adrian are off in a few weeks' time. It looks like Reece Oxford is going to Wolfsburg for about £4 to £5 million.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on those three?
I don't see anything you could do other than get rid of them. I mean, let's be honest. Okay, Carroll he's been getting a free bus ride for a while now. Okay, I mean, I feel bad for the guy, because, you know, if he was a healthy player, he would have been phenomenal. But when you get a player of that sort, he's a dinosaur. He's a dying breed. Let's be honest. That sort of player just doesn't suit this league anymore. He really doesn't. You know, you hear Noble talk about the way he throws himself about in training, the way he throws himself about in the field. When you got a player of that size that's throwing himself about like that, he's going to get injured all the time, and that's the nature of the beast. You know, he's given us some great memories. I mean, there've been some great memories. I mean, that bicycle kick they did a couple of years back, which was phenomenal, which will always go down in my memory as like one of the most amazing goals I've ever seen anyone score for West Ham. For just because he's a sheer monstrosity of a player. He should be in Game of Thrones with one of the White Walkers, one of the White Giants. I mean, that's what he really is, not a football player. So I wish him the best of luck in wherever it is he goes. I don't see that he's going to have much of a playing career ahead of him. I really don't. I mean, good luck to him, whatever he does. He got a free ride on the bus, and I think we've been wasting our money for a couple of years on it. I really do. So bye-bye, good luck. No hard feelings. He gave us a couple of good games and a couple of good seasons, and that's all there is to it. Adrian, you know, that was going to happen, wasn't it? He wants to be a number one. I got to be honest, I always felt nervous when he was in goal. Always did. I always felt nervous. I loved him. And when we signed Fabianski, or as they used to call him at Arsenal, Flabianski.
I called him that last season as well.
Exactly.
I made the mistake there.
Seriously. I was like, oh my God, what are we doing here? But, you know, Fabianski is he's been incredible, really has. I'll be interested to see who we bring in to replace Adrian. And of course, there's rumours flying around about that the kid from Cardiff City that they would think we're possibly looking at now, which might be
Etheridge. Yeah. Do you know what, mate? That was one of the things I was going to ask you, because for me, bucking the trend of going for players that have performed out of their skin for a team that's been relegated, I've loved watching Etheridge this season. They stayed in the position as high up as they did because of some of the fantastic saves that he made. I would be very, very happy if he came in as a backup. The problem is that he's 29, so he's only a few years younger than Fabianski, so he's not really going to be a long-term replacement. But if we did that for a couple of seasons, that would be a very, very good signing, and that we would have a potentially epoch-making goalkeeping regime with having, as long as Etheridge performs to the same way that he did if we bought him in, I would be very, very happy with that.
Exactly. And the other thing with that is then it gives Nathan Trott an opportunity to, you know, get his game together a little bit more, learn a little bit from a couple of half-decent goalkeepers, you know, and it gives him some time to move on, because, I mean, you don't really become a decent goalkeeper until you're in your 20s anyway. I mean, so I would like to see that. I would like to see that.
Well, exactly. I mean, what's it? The same with what's his name? Brad Friedel. 43 when he retired.
Seriously, I'd love to see Fabianski play until he's 40 and stop in the way that he's doing balls now. The guy stops balls with his face, for crying out loud.
Yeah,
I mean,
he stops balls with his balls as well. We've seen a couple of
seriously, it's everything. And as far as Perez going, goodbye, see ya, sayonara. I mean, it seemed to me like that was a little bit of a panic buy at the end of the season.
Yeah,
It really did.
I kind of think he was a Hugh Gill style signing that we were everyone was baying for another striker, and he bought it. Don't get me wrong, the handful of games that he's played, especially his debut in the against Cardiff, I think it was his debut against Cardiff when he scored those 2 goals. They weren't exactly easy goals either. I mean, one of them was an easy tap in, but but players like that make it look easy because it's a natural instinct where players like Arnautovic don't have that. You get and Hernandez as well for that matter, which also has been linked to. Both of them apparently have been linked to going. I think they're going to Spain or Mexico, one of the two. They get themselves in the right positions at the right time, and it makes it look easy. But yeah, Perez, I'm quite disappointed about. I was quite looking forward to seeing what he was doing because I was kind of thinking he would prove Arsenal wrong, but he's proven us wrong. You know,
I think the deal with Perez is he wants to be a starter, and he's not a starter. He's not, and I don't see him as being a starter. I really don't. He's got a little bit of talent. I think he's a starter in the Championship, and I think that's about all there is to it. So you know, if he wants to move on, and it looks like he wants to move on, let him do it. I mean, every time he comes out and plays a decent game, it's all about, you know, look at my name, remember who my name is. That's advertising in the shop window, as far as I'm concerned. You know, he wants people to remember who he is, so he can get somewhere else.
Yeah, there's also talk that potentially Sanchez is off as well. Now, until Sunday,
does he play for us?
He has, yeah, he's played a couple of times.
Has he ever played for anyone? When he played for Villa, did he actually play? I mean, I'm talking about, can he actually play? The guy can't play. The guy can't bloody play.
This is the thing.
He played like shit for Villa. He played what, 1 game for us? Played like crap for us.
He's played he got the injury in mid-September, I think. Round about, I think, if I remember correctly. Then he made an appearance for the Southampton game, and he made an appearance on Sunday. Now, up until Sunday, I was going to say maybe he needs to be given a lifeline next season because he's not played an entire season. The problem is with Sanchez, he almost gave away a goal on Sunday. Fair play to the boy. He tracked back and made sure that he covered his tracks on that. But I was just thinking, oh, really, no. And likewise, Obiang is linked because apparently he wants to go back to Italy again. And to be honest with you, if he's not feeling it and he misses his family, I get it 100%. Really understand that if, you know, at the end of the day he can't see his family as much as he wants to, and he wants to go home. Kind of like Diamante when we got relegated. Yeah. I was so disappointed with him going very quickly because he was a brilliant player for us before.
I loved him. I loved the heart the guy had, and he was one of those players that you felt like he put it all out there.
Definitely,
really put it all out there. He looks well dodgy these days. I mean, I saw a photograph of him the other day, and I was like, "Shit, is that him?" He looks like a bloody old man.
There's also links, which we'll come into as well in a minute. But there's Masuaku is attracting interest from Spurs. That hurt.
No, don't do it. You know, see, here's the thing with Masuaku. Everyone says he's crap, he's awful, he's terrible, he's the worst left back ever. Yeah, he's a pretty bloody bad left back. But remember when we were all chanting 1, 2, 3, oh, yo, Arthur Masuaku? That's because he's a bloody brilliant midfielder.
That's the point. He said on his Twitter account on more than one occasion that he's not a defender; he's more of a midfielder. The funny thing is when me and my mate Steve, when we went to Spurs away, as we were walking down to the ground, we started singing. The lyrics were changed slightly. It changed from "He never gives the ball away," it changed to "He always gives the ball away." So you know,
well, we've done that.
Quite good from that point of view. I like that. That did make me chuckle, I must admit, but he is a good backup option. He really is a good backup option. I would not want to see him go, especially not to Spurs. Especially, no. I think the reason why he's linked with Spurs is because at the end of the day he played brilliantly when we were there at their new stadium, and he must have impressed, and therefore people were starting to talk. Well, maybe you could match it. And on those grounds alone, I really want us to keep him. Because, as I say, he's a good backup to Creswell. His defensive mind under this season has been a hell of a lot better towards the end of the season than it was over the last couple of seasons. So I'll be heartbroken if Masuaku goes, but if he's sold, I can understand it at the same point. As long as we've got somebody coming in better to replace him. Now, obviously, Chicharito and Hugill are obviously linked to go again for the same reason, Wayne. I reckon that, because at the end of the day, Hernandez wants to be a regular starter and he's not a regular under Pellegrini. I get it 100%. Hugill was a token gesture, as I said earlier. There's West Ham employee confirmed a few days, was it last week or the week before? Well, a few times, but more specifically a couple of weeks ago, that Hugill's agent is Moyes' half brother, step brother, I think, or brother-in-law, one of the two.
Yeah, there's some sort of family connection here, and that's why he ended up with us.
So it kind of reinforces the statement I said earlier about him being a token striker. We wanted a striker. They got in a striker. It wasn't. I can't say he was bad because he tried. He was pretty quick. He's pretty quick for a guy of his height and his bulk. He's pretty fast.
I can't say I saw enough of him. I didn't see enough of him. I can't say that I wanted to be honest. I mean, and reports of what he's done at where did he go to? Middlesbrough, was it?
Yeah.
The reports that I've heard from Middlesbrough, he's not set the world on fire, has he?
No. Well, that's the problem of playing in the Tony Pulis side. I mean, he's left now. He left Middlesbrough a few weeks back. But yeah, you're not going to have a big lump up front. No disrespect to Hugo, but you're not going to have a big lump up front under Pulis. It just doesn't happen. Allardyce, 100%. It's an Allardyce signing, definitely. But
I mean, how much do you think we get for him, though? I mean, the thing is, we paid, what was it, 5 million for him?
Yeah.
No, we didn't. We paid 9 million for him, didn't we? I think it was 8 or 9 million we paid for him.
Just go back to my notes again. Where are we, Hugo? Yeah, it was about that. It's about between 7 and 9, depending on different things.
Yeah. But I don't see us picking up a lot for him. I mean, I think we'd be lucky to pick up like 4 or 5 million for him.
Yeah, if
really do.
If we get our money back, I'll be very, very surprised. Now, players that I think I'd like for us to come in. I want to get your thoughts on anybody else that you want as well. I mean, obviously we talked about Etheridge. I'm glad we both agree on that.
Yeah, I think this would be a good one.
I reckon we could if the Newcastle manager isn't staying next season, I reckon we could probably do a bit of a cheeky coup and get Perez. I've got a funny feeling we could. I wouldn't mind seeing him, to be honest with you. What do you reckon about that?
I don't know really. I guess so. It's, to me, it's like a toss-up. I don't know that he'd really add to us that much.
But if we've got Carroll going, we've got Perez going. We need to bring in at least one decent striker up front, and either that or possibly swoop in for West Brom. Their striker Rondon, he's set Newcastle alight this season. They absolutely.
I like Rondon. Here's the other thing, though, is what's going on with. Let's talk about the rumours as to who's out there right now. I mean, we're linked with everybody and anybody that's out there. We're linked with what, Marega. We're linked with Gomez. We're linked with Modiami, for crying out loud. We're linked with everybody.
Whoever started that rumor needs to be shooting. They need shooting.
We're linked with everybody in a heartbeat. We're linked with everybody.
Well, we'll talk about that in a few moments' time. But there's also been reports over the last few weeks that we could be hijacking Schürrle, because he's technically on loan with Fulham for another season after this. But there's been reports that we're exploring taking on the end of the second season loan. I'm not sure this is a good idea, to be honest with you. I like Schürrle. He was fantastic when he played for Chelsea. He's done some very, very good things for Fulham this season, but not enough, I reckon, for us to look to get him on loan. I mean, at the end of the day, if we get Antonio back to keeping his mojo going, and we get Yarmolenko back, I can't really see where a player like Schürrle is going to fit in. I really can't.
That's my thoughts exactly as well. I mean, if Antonio had been playing like the way he was mid-season and still been like lackluster, I'd say it's a thought. But Antonio's really pulled himself around. I mean, he's looking like the Antonio of old, and I hope we hang on to him. I really do. I like him. I like the fact that he gives 100%. I'm sure that he adds a ton to that dressing room. I'm sure he does, because he's a character. He's a positive, upbeat person, and I think he gives 100% out there. I really do. So, but and the same thing if when Yarmolenko comes back. I mean, he's coming back from a hell of an injury, so we don't know that he's going to come back, as fighting fit as he was before. But I don't see where somebody like Schürrle would fit in. I really don't. So I think he would fit in at the expense of somebody like Antonio, and I don't want that.
Agreed, 100%. I mean, with Yarmolenko, apparently he is back in training and has been for the last few weeks. He's just not match ready. Because bearing in mind, he's been out 6 months, give or take.
Yeah, it's a long time.
So they're gonna save him for the end for this pre-season, get that match fitness back through there. So great idea. Any other manager would have rushed him back. I mean, you could. There's a very, very good argument that Lanzini was rushed back at the same point, because I do feel that because he wasn't meant to come back at all for this season, and he's been playing for the last 5-6 weeks. So I'm not entirely sure that was the right move to make. But at the same,
and it's only the last couple of matches that Lanzini's actually looked like he quite knows what he's getting himself into. He's looked like he's up to par. It really is. The last two to three matches, those first few, he looked like he was struggling a bit out there.
Yeah, definitely. The last ever since he came back, he's because at the end of the day, he's trying to get his fitness back more than anything else. Again, you see the spurts of power that he's got, and his the free. He did a very, very good free kick for the game as well, for that matter. So yeah, where are we? Frema 007. Have you seen the Moraga link from Porto? Yeah, we touched on that a little bit earlier, mate. I don't know when that comment came in, mate, so I'm hoping you've been able to touch on that. I mean, personally, I'm not affair with who this guy is, but like with Maxi Gomez, a lot of people have been raving about him, so we'll see where that comes in. Now, the interesting thing is that I was obviously as I do for research, I look at different websites and see who's doing what. Now, Claret and Hugh are very, very good for rumours. They love putting up everybody they find out. There's some very, very funny players that we've been linked to that Claret and Hugh have put up in the States, and that they also, to be fair, they put on the betting odds of who they're going to be going to as well. But some of it it's entertaining, and some of it you can understand at the same point. For example, apparently as of Monday, when I saw these odds, we were 12 to 1 to sign Jack Buckland from Stoke. Not a bad idea.
I don't see it.
Yeah, exactly. He's on favourites to go to Bournemouth instead. But yeah, Buckland. It's if we needed a main number one, I reckon we'd be a lot shorter than that.
I don't see it. He's not going to come unless he's going to be playing. I just don't see it.
A lot of this is back to lazy journalism as well, for that matter. Again, we're linked with Danny Drinkwater, but apparently he's odds on to go back to Leicester City. Giroud is basically.
Is that making the rounds again?
Yeah, we're 20 to 1 for a good reason.
Oh, blimey.
Joe Felix of Benfica, who's been linked to Man City the last few weeks as well. Apparently, we're 16 to 1 to sign him. It's not going to happen.
No.
Hazard's younger brother, I think, if I remember correctly, Thorgan Hazard.
That's the first I've heard that one. Who's saying that?
To stay at Dortmund. Aaron Murray, a player that I've raved about all season. Apparently, we're joint favourites with him and Newcastle.
I'd like that.
It's not a bad idea.
I'd like it.
Callum Wilson, not going to happen. We won't be able to
no way.
£50 million price tag. But apparently he's odds-on favourites for Chelsea. Begovic from Bournemouth, please, whoever came up with this idea. Sure.
So it sounds like somebody just had a spell of bending over and tying their shoelaces, and somebody was behind them pulling stuff out.
Obviously the Maxi Gomez, that's been going around since January.
I don't see that. I don't see how we can afford it.
No. Talking of which, the odds on Dzeko from Roma 8 to 1, not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, Morago, as we touched on earlier, is his favourites to go and sign with Wolves, which I get 100%. Wolves are trying to improve on their 7th finish. Jack Grealish rumours coming out again.
I'd like it.
not going to happen. I can't see it. Agreed. I think it'd be a good idea, but I just can't see it. Mitrovic, no. I don't think he'd be any improvement on what we've got at the moment, even with the players leaving. Also, Ryan Sessegnon. We've been linked with him again. We were linked with him in January and last summer as well. But it's all over the papers that he wants to join Spurs. So fair play to the boy. Fair play to him. There's only one reason for that. He wants to wait. By the sounds of things. Che Adams from Birmingham. Apparently 12-1 odds. But he's favourite to go to Spurs. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, exactly my thoughts, mate. Exactly my thoughts on that. David Neves, David Neves, I should say, from Ajax. Not sure.
I think it'd be a good fit. But I just don't know that right now, with everything up in the air, money wise, and who we keep in and who we selling right now. I mean, for a start, all this is great, but are we keeping the Austrian? Is the deal already done?
Well, when you and I talked in the on the first podcast that I did, I was on, I should say, with Tim on American Hammers, I said that it was a coincidence that we're going to the Asia Trophy Cup, but it now seems to be that people's opinion on that seems more to be the fact that it's not going to happen. That signing's not going to happen purely because how badly he's played. Now that's interesting because obviously we've seen a certain sort of rejuvenation over the last 4 to 5 weeks. Now, is that because he knows he's not going to be going, or is that because he's trying to play for a move regardless? Only time will tell.
Well, here's the thing as well, though. I mean, a lot of times we forget that strikers do go. It's a roller coaster. I mean, they do ebb and flow. I mean, they're hot, they're cold, they're hot, they're cold. And, and sometimes that happens during the course of a season. Sometimes they just get a season where they're on the whole time. Maybe we are being unfair. Personally, I don't like the way the whole business side of it was handled. So as far as I'm concerned, he's had a couple of decent games, but he can still fuck off. Excuse my language, but he can still sod off. I don't want him.
I'm not a big fan of him. He is definitely one of the players that I want to see go. And as heartbreaking as it is for me to say this, me and Tim talked about it last week. I think we should get rid of Winston Reid. I really, do. Just purely because of his injuries, not because how he plays, because he gives 110% on the pitch as always. But we've not seen him this season. We saw little glimpses of him last season. Apparently, there's a back injury that he sustained a few years ago, and he's never really shaken that. So that's impacting on his recovery for everything else that he suffered with. But I don't want to see him go. I love Winston Reid. He scored some everybody. When you say Winston Reid to West Ham supporter, one of the first things they say is, "Oh yeah, he put the ball in the back of the Pikes net." Yeah. But we need, as good as Balboa has been this season, as good as Diop has been this season, and as surprisingly inconsistently consistent Ogbon has been. Those three will definitely get ahead of Reid, even when he's fit.
Ogbonna with a run. Ogbonna with the run is all right. I do think I think it's time to say to Winston, you've been a great soldier, but it's time to demob, mate. It really is. I think it's time. Here's one that there's a name you've been steering clear of here. What about Wilshere? He's a Pellegrini favourite. I mean, we laugh when soon as somebody mentions the name in our pub. I walk around going like this. Beep 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 beep. It's like and I love the guy. I think it was a wonderful story that Jack Wilshere comes home to roost. I would love to have seen him play all this season and have got over his injuries. But in the same breath, it's like we're saying bye-bye to Carroll. We've finally got rid of an anchor around our neck. It looks like Nasri's not going to go for this pay to play thing, which quite frankly I think is good. Let's get somebody out of there. I don't want it. I don't really want an injured dove flying from us. I really don't. It's like let's get rid. What are your thoughts, mate?
I'm torn on this because when he got his injury, I said it in when he did when he was doing his medical that it's a big risk, and I still stand by that. But at the same point, he's like Carroll. He's not just because of his injury history, but it's more because of the fact that when he comes on, he is a terrier. When he came on against Southampton, all over the pitch. When he came on against Watford as well for that last 10-15 minutes, again he was buzzing around like crazy, and we want to see that. We want to see that from him. Will we see that again next season for 25-30 games? I'm not sure. I want him to stay because it's his potential, which we all know, but again because of his injuries, I'm not sure that we should. There are a lot of talk. That's right. There has been a lot of talk over the season that he was going to be loaned out next season. When he's come back, apparently he's really impressed, not just on the games itself, but in the training ground. So therefore, there's talk about him being given another try next season. Yeah, it is. It's a romantic PR job from the board that Wilshire's coming home and all that stuff. But I don't want to criticise the bloke, but I haven't seen enough of him, and none of us have really, to warrant him to stay, if that makes sense. Because when at the start of the season he was finding his legs again. There was glimpses at Liverpool away where he played brilliantly, but just was massively exposed. But you let him go for that. It was literally the first few games of the season. Everybody's trying out their feet, trying to figure out what's the way we try to do that high line in the first few games. That was painful.
Scary.
We've got it pretty much 90% nailed down now, which I'm very happy about. That was one thing I was really scared about, was the fact that we won't be able to do that in any shape or form. We weren't able to keep that consistent defensive line going. And, from about February, March time, well, probably I'd say around about from the Liverpool home game onwards, we've been able to keep people offside a lot more than we used to. So including that goal that should never have stood. But it's for me, Wilshere is just, I don't want to criticise him, but I don't want to heap praise on him as well. Same thing with Sanchez. We haven't seen enough of him to say either way that he should stay or he should go. I can understand the argument on both camps, even though there's hardly anybody talking about he should stay, purely because of that old relegated defensive midfielder noose that's been swept around his neck the last few years. But I don't know. We'll talk about it next season. We'll talk about Wilshere in January.
Yeah, I hope he makes it through. I hope he makes it through. And it sounds like he's like Pellegrini's a big fan of his. I mean, for me, if it was a toss-up between Sanchez and Wilshere, I mean, I'd go Wilshere every time. Agreed. I mean, you've got a world beater there. Who's, when he is healthy, is a world beater. Sanchez, you've got a person there that when he is healthy, maybe 25% of the time, you can trust him not to screw up and let a goal in. That's my opinion.
I know what you mean. I mean, for me, for Wilshere, I don't think it's 100% Pellegrini, because I know if I remember correctly, the reports that he's quite good mates with Noble, and they were looking at him, and apparently he came into the ground himself and said, "Look, I want to play for you." So so there's that. So I like that passion. One of the things that was missing from football nowadays, and Man United are a massive example of this, is they bring in players to suit the positions. They're not bringing in players that want to play for the club.
True.
And with Wilshere, it's 100%. You can tell that he wants to play for the club. Adrian just is a heartbreaker, because when he was in goal, and also with the last two games as well, he's just shown how much he loves the club. And likewise, Carroll, very, very happy being at the club. I think, he really understands it as well, and that's why he gives us all the 110% as much as he can. It's like trying to polish up rotting wood, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about before we wind this up, Wayne?
One other thing, and I'm just going to say one thing. What do you do with Snodgrass?
I would marry the bloke if I had the chance.
I love the man.
I really love the man.
I mean, I've got his jersey on. I'm wearing it today. I mean, I haven't put his name on the back, because anytime I put a player's name on the back on my jersey, something rotten happens to him. So I put Messi on the back on my jersey instead. But I love the man's heart. I think if it wasn't for Fabianski having such a great year, he was my vote for Hammer of the Year, just because he epitomizes the fight and the determination that I think West Ham is. I hope he gets some look, and I think he's a great backup. I really do.
Well, but for me, agreed 100%. I was saying up until a few weeks ago, I was saying that Snodgrass was my hammer of the season, 100%, purely because he put all that crap that he was given a couple of years ago aside. He's worked his balls off. He's really shown that he gets the club. He's passionate. He's helped out the Isle of Wight Foundation a lot as well. He that's what I'm saying. He gets it. He understands what West Ham's all about. He understands it because his background's very similar to the West Ham background as well, albeit Scott's version of it. But he understands the working class supporters fan base. He understands that they want to see commitment 100%. Maybe being down in the Championship with Villa last season really helped him turn it around. But yeah, for me at Snodgrass, I will. But this is the problem. Who would you play, Lanzini or Snodgrass? Both 100% fit, both playing to the top level. Who would you pick?
Well, I think you need to keep him because Lanzini could he's picked up an injury once before. That sort of injury can arise again. So, and I think when you're coming up against a tough team, like a team like Huddersfield plays, where they really come down and butcher you and play really hard against you, I think Snodgrass is a perfect person to put in there. I really do. So he's, and let's face it, God bless him. Noble's going to have some tough games coming up this season. He's getting on in years, and every time we say that, he pulls it out and he has a blinder. So I'm going to keep on bloody well saying it.
Mate, that goal that he scored against Watford. He said in his interviews afterwards that he didn't know where it came from. He just doesn't.
I mean, it was some poor defending. Let's be honest here. It was some poor defending, but I mean, it was just. I'm getting goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. It was just beautiful. I mean, our pub just went riotous, completely off the hook, crazy. So
it was
just
absolutely
beautiful.
And it's just, and again, it's one of the many reasons this season why he's shown his haters why they shouldn't hate him. I love the bloke.
You have to love the man.
At the end of the day, if somebody's not playing well, it's your right to criticise them.
Yeah.
But at the same point, if they're playing well and doing superb things as he's been doing, you should also congratulate him for doing it at the same point. Give them the positive support as well as the negatives.
Yeah. Well, we're supporters. I mean, if somebody has a crap game, we're allowed to say they're having a crap game. Just the same thing as if they turn around the next week and have a brilliant one. You know what? You had a brilliant game today. Last week you played like shit, but the week you played fantastic. It goes with it. They're professionals. They know how that goes. They know totally how it goes. So that's the way it should be.
So just to round up the video, just talk about a few other comments we've had in the live chat. Old school Paul says keep Nasri 100%.
Paul, you're full of it.
Wiltshire fanboy born and raised. Yes, we know that, mate. 100%. And Snodgrass came through leaps and bounds and has got grit and determination. So yes, again, agree with you, mate. 100%. Okay, guys. So I know you've got to rush off, mate, to pick up your daughters and that. So thank you very much for popping on, Wayne. We'll definitely have you on again, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure.
My pleasure, mate. My pleasure, mate. It's always a pleasure to coming here and chatting with you. And keep on doing what you're doing, mate. You do a fantastic job.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Before we do go, though, Wayne, do you want to give a quick shout out to the pub and the address where you guys hang out with?
Yeah, McSwiggan's Irish Pub in the Colony in North Dallas. Fantastic little pub. They're open every day of the week. They're awesome. I'll give a shout out as well to the American Hammers TV. Tim and Lee have been gracious enough to let me co-host a number of episodes this year, and I've had a blast with them. And I'm going to give a shout out as well to the Denton Diablos Football Club, who I'm going to be calling play-by-play for them over the summer. So I'm going to be calling play-by-play for Division 4 football here in the United States. So that's going to be a laugh because I've got no bloody clue what I'm going to be doing.
Sounds like the Iron Brew Division League, mate, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, it's like Isthmian League. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
So thank you very much, Wayne. I really do appreciate it, mate. Guys, thank you very much for getting the channel to 700 subscribers. Also the Twitter account has reached the 100 followers as well, so guys, thank you very much for that. If you're new around here and you've enjoyed this podcast, I'm hoping we're going to get more on a regular basis as well, so keep an eye out for that. If you're new to the channel, by all means, please click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you get first notification of when these podcasts and any new future videos are going up. Obviously, there's the FA Cup final this weekend, so I'm going to try and hopefully do a video talking about that. But in terms of West Ham, there's not really much more to talk about unless we go into the dark, awful area of talking about the all of the rumours. So thank you very much for your time, guys. If you've liked the video and you feel that we deserve it, then by all means, please click the like button, and also please share this channel with anybody that you feel may want to watch it. So in the meantime, guys, enjoy the rest of your week. You'll see me at some point over the weekend for another video. Christ knows what I'm going to talk about at the moment, but you'll get something from me, and then I'm sure you'll enjoy it. So in the meantime, guys, enjoy your week, and thank you very much for coming on, Wayne. Pleasure to see you soon.
Come on, you Irons!